sing these songs about you. You don't know the pseudonyms, I assume. You don't know the pseudonyms, I assume. For you. Well, are you happy now that the gods are dying? Well, do you dream?
The great thing about being in a band is it's like being in the ultimate gang, and like every gang needs its headquarters.
Any building like this is an inspiration. Just walking around, it's like an old guitar or an old piano or something like that. They've all got stories to tell.
Studios are kind of a bit antiseptic, a bit anodyne, and to actually sort of get like a kind of a sense of the building within the music as well, and the sound is another factor.
It's definitely had a big impact on the way we've made this record, using this building and the space. You find yourself both adapting to the space and being inspired by the space. We've kind of always had that as a band as well. Like, even when we started out, we had the chateau and then we had the jail, and this is just like the next step in that process, really, like finding the place where you first of all hide from the world and create your thing, and then where you decide how you're going to take it out to the world as well.
It's a 505, your engine's alive, and we ride together. We ride together. We die together.
I might take the padding out a little bit on the kit, so it's a little bit more, on the kick rather, so it's a little bit more open. I always loved the DIY thing in music, but I didn't necessarily want the music to sound lo-fi. I don't see why music should sound crap if you've got a DIY attitude. Like, you can still have it sound rich and beautiful to your ears. What's that?
Yeah, just do a whole take, then we can listen to it a bit.
The way we've been recording like this, it is an extension of how we've started off. Like, even when we were, I suppose when we were kids as well. Like, when I was a kid, I used to have I didn't have my friend Andrew had a 4-track, and we used to sit in our bedrooms in our parents' houses, you know, making music that way. And then when we first got the band together, we did our first ever recordings with an old PC and a couple of microphones in Nick's flat and then in my flat. And they were very homemade DIY recordings that had just a really good energy about them. And this is, I suppose, just an extension of that whole attitude, that kind of do-it-yourself attitude.
I think the building was maybe built in the sort of early 20th century, and it was the town hall of Govan, and then Govan became part of Glasgow and sort of was usurped by it, and then that sort of negated the need for a town hall. So I don't think a lot's happened here, really. Nick had been here, he'd kind of sort of set up camp here like sort of 2 months before the rest of us had even seen the place.
The others were away for some reason, on holiday or something. I came back and I saw the place the first time. So this is the old janitor's apartment that we're going to now, and pretty scary. A few dead pigeons around, and it's where we recorded some hand claps and a few other bits and bobs, just when we need a bit of atmosphere. The acoustics are amazing, if you're nerdy like that. Alright, so here we go. This room, this flat has got years and years of different janitors coming and going. You can see all their different wallpapers, all the different paint and everything. Beautiful wallpaper example here. And here's another era. It's more like 60s, I suppose. It's a bit earlier. And then you go through here, and it's all floral again. And then I walk through here, and then at the back of the wall there's another entrance to somewhere else. And it's like a massive playground for us. We just we can run around, and it's our headquarters. It's our gang hut pretty much. We can do what the hell we want.
So this is one of the rooms that we have. As you'll see, we keep guitars here, and also there's like a tech thing, so you can change strings and crap like that. And there's drum bits and stuff. And this is also what we laughingly refer to as the kitchen. There's a microwave and a toaster and a fridge. And this is a chair that Nick found on the street, and it had these little legs on at the bottom, right? And it kind of like went on like that. One of them was broken, and I had the idea to fix it, just take them all off. So it makes it quite a low chair, but it works.
So here we are. First song of tonight, Ulysses. Not about James Joyce, only vaguely about Homer's Odysseus, Ulysses. The whole song's supposed to have the feel of a whitey, and I don't know if is that a universal term? I was talking to somebody else about a whitey recently. Would you know what a whitey is? Yeah. I was talking to somebody from the south of England that had no idea what a whitey was. I was thinking about like, the Am I Ulysses line. This guy grew up in South Africa and was sitting with two other guys. The three of them were all really stoned. Paul, do you want to tell the rest of the story?
It was a guy and a girl, they're all really stoned, and they were talking about Knight Rider or Ulysses, the cartoon series. I can't remember which. But yeah, he was very quiet for about 10 minutes. I think he sort of...
After they finished talking about Knight Rider?
Yeah.
And talking about something completely different.
And then there was a sort of lull in the conversation, and he'd been very quiet, and he was obviously having a bad time, and said, am I Knight Rider? And thought they were talking in code about him.
Right now, we are under the stage of the theatre. It's inside the building, which you might have seen earlier. And this is where we keep all of our crap and various sort of guitars and cases and stuff and boxes and all our asbestos. We also recorded down here sections of the songs. We kind of set up a little drum kit and we brought down amps, and for a lot of the rockier bits we kind of had very minimal microphones and just sort of played very loudly down here. It gives a kind of great sound.
Everything we've done with the way we've made this record is always like kind of, right, okay, that's the way you'll normally hear it on a record. Like, how could we do it so it's just going to sound a little different? And you do end up with a very quirky, human, characterful record as well, because you tend not to do things in a standard way. I mean, I've been in big studios before with really good engineers, and they know exactly how to set up a drum kit with exactly the right microphones to get the perfect kind of rock sound. You know, that's what rock drums sound like in this studio. you know, you get a really high quality sounding record, but also one that sounds like 40 records that have already been out this year, and I don't know, what's the point of making another one of those records?
This room now is our very own ivory tower. It's the top of the whole building, the dome, yeah, we walked up here and walked around it, and you know, it's just quite incredible that when you just see this one light here as well, you get a really great view of Glasgow through there, and when you walk around and then you step into this certain bit in the middle. Everything, all the acoustics just center on the middle, just suddenly go whoop, like that and go into your ears. And we thought, wow, this is incredible. Where do you get the chance to do this? Maybe in St. Paul's or something, you know, I think you get that same kind of effect. But we've got our own St. Paul's here practically, and you've got just these round walls and a wooden dome. And so we thought we have to do some recording in here, and we did. What we ended up doing was claps, disco claps really, and we put a microphone just exactly where this acoustic phenomenon happens, right in the middle here. Put two microphones up that kind of were like ears, and then just stood around and did a lot of claps, the whole album, like that. So if you hear it's quite, and if there's like 10 people doing it, it's immense.
The idea of contrast was something that was quite important to the whole record, that we would almost like cutting, the way you would cut between scenes in a film, you would have the same kind of cutting in sound. So as we walk around the building and see the different rooms, we'll see the kind of sonic scenes that we would use to cut between. This song went through a few different versions. We tried to record it for the second album, but it just wasn't right. And I think the reason it wasn't right was because we'd never played it live before. It's one of these songs, like so many songs make sense once you've gigged them. And this one we were like sort of bashing away at it in the studio, and it just wasn't working. And then after you play it live 3 or 4 times, you go, oh right, okay, that's what makes sense. That's why it works as a song. Let's hear that back. Turn it on.
Do you think if one of you was doing the harmony,
It sounds lazy
maybe.
to me. It sounds
Yeah, it
behind
does,
the
yeah.
beat on the first 3. It's kind of na na na. It's kind of na na na. It's a da da da. Turn it on. It should be. It sounds unconfident.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be shouted. It just has to be. Although I know you turn it on, yeah, turn it on. No, I know you turn it on, yeah, turn it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's try that again. Forgive you always. Although I know you turn it on, yeah, turn it on. I know you turn it on, yeah, turn it on.
Dan, who produced the album, he's like really kind of into trying anything. He was really excited when he came here. His place in Streatham in London is a little bit like the whole setup we've got here, except on a much smaller scale, because in London, obviously, we get so much more space in Glasgow. But yeah, he's just like a big kid with, like, you know, his own den, and this is kind of our den, I guess. And yeah, he loves it.
Have you ever put a slinky in your ear? If you do put a slinky in your ear, you hear this amazing sound. And so I put one end on a contact mic, and the other end I sewed it into a speaker, and so that when the speaker moves, the slinky you get, because that goes into an amp. So it's like a way of getting that sound anytime you want it. There were drawbacks to doing the recording in a place where you haven't got all the luxuries that you'd have in a normal recording studio, but I think, you know, on balance, that was a good thing most of the time, because when you're constantly forced to find ways round things, you kind of come up with interesting sort of improvisations. There was a particular one, What She Came For, where we'd recorded it and it kind of sounded good, but it didn't have the kind of sort of wildness that the demo did. And then you've got this huge room, and we're just kind of thinking of ways that we could use that space. The idea of having a guitar kind of travelling past you at like high speed, you know, we thought we'd try and get something like that, and so climbed up into the rafters above the ceiling and dangled a long mic lead through, so it was about 8 inches off the ground, and put a guitar amp underneath it, and then Alex just played as the most sort of feedbacky, noisy guitar possible, and then I just chucked the mic, you know, so just to sort of get it to go as fast as I could past the speaker. And you know, if you can imagine, if you were the mic, what you'd hear as you kind of went past the thing, you know, that's what you hear on the record, and it does sound absolutely mad.
That's cool.
That's really good.
That sounds like running in a cartoon.
Yeah.
So creepy.
Claps. That's what you want?
Yeah. Oh, kiss me. Lick your cigarette, then kiss me. Flick your eyes in mine so fleetly. Fleetly when your mind might meet me. Meet me with your eyes so sweetly. Sweetly with your mind so briefly. Oh, you know, I know, you know that yes, I mean, I'd love to get to know you. But do you ever wonder? No, 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 you girls never know. Oh, no, you girls never know. No, you girls. It didn't have a chorus. The other version doesn't have the chorus. The bit that kind of goes, oh, you girls never know. Oh, no, you girls never. And that came about with just the band playing it, and I was making up words on the spot, and Often we would do things like that when we're writing, just to have I don't know, say about 20, 30 minutes of just jamming. The big part of the process for us is initially like giving yourself like absolute freedom to just see where you go and trying to be as uninhibited as you possibly can be, and then having the, I don't know what you would call it, being able to concentrate afterwards and go through something, and also being able to be cruel enough to yourself to say, actually, the majority of that is crap. That's half an hour's worth of crap and 15 seconds worth of something that's really good. And I think that's maybe for me, writing songs, that was the thing that took the longest to develop, was being able to edit myself.
It was just a really fun process of recording. You know, we really enjoyed just messing around. You know, just going from one room to the other. I mean, otherwise it would have been switch on the reverb effect. You know, I mean, you can do that, sure. I mean, we did that as well. You know, but it was just we were in charge. You know, it was our place, and we knew all the bits and bobs, and we could do what we wanted to. You know, we were like, if you go into a studio, there's a guy there that knows it in and out. You know, it's his place. You know, and you're always like asking if you can maybe do that, and can you maybe turn up the hi-hat a little bit, things like that. You know, and you get bits. You know, you're always asking for permission. You know, and we didn't have to do that here. It was just, we just felt like we were. You know, it was our place. We were the kids. If you play claps backwards, you get the whole reverb before it, you know, so it goes, instead of going like that, it goes like that, and that sounds incredible because it gives the whole track a bit of a lurch as well. It just goes shoom, shoom.
Send Them Away, this is my favourite song on the record.
This is just really refreshing, I think.
It sort of came about from originally from a big jam between us.
To my ears. Maybe. Like total classic.
The lyrics are playing with this idea that,
and then it's rhythm.
you know, when people end up in awkward romantic situations or passionate situations where
Summertown Merryland came out of a jam that lasted over an hour, and then we edited it down into a song, which we don't often do, and then we recorded it again playing to the structure of the edit. But from that, we took the method of like recording like a song over the course of like an hour, like just playing an intro for like 15 minutes.
You just kind of like get into this kind of like rhythm, and about 7 or 8 minutes into it, it becomes like this hypnotic kind of state, and you don't even know what you're doing. Your hands are just working themselves, and you just kind of, it just has this groove to it.
Yeah, it's a good way of working. You just like completely zone out.
And I think some of Dan's best stuff here as well. Yeah, like that's it. Some of the dub effect, and at the end as well, the dubisms. Is that the right word?
That's a good one.
Yeah, Dan did that live on this desk as well. Like, so he was like flicking these faders up and down, and totally live. He's like Dan plays the desk like someone plays an instrument. You know, it's just really cool to watch him doing it. Kind of hunched over like a goblin.
It always something changes automatically when he does. You know, like his other guys are just like twiddling. Nothing actually changes. You know?
Yeah, but he's wild. Like he goes to extreme.
Hi, Mum. Hello? Good, how are you? Hello, Mum. Yeah. I'm just doing some music, just in the studio doing some music stuff. Yeah, what are you up to?
This song to me also has a really kind of 75 rock sort of feel.
Oh, okay, what time are you going down?
I love that kind of era, like the
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Sabbath, Deep Purple.
It's not raining, but it's a bit cold.
Usually when you go to a professional studio, you tend to find that you have the control room, usually separated by thick panes of double glazing and impenetrable glass, and then you have the usually cavernous recording space beyond there. I tend to find that recording studios like that were built for engineers rather than for musicians, because you have great separation and great control technically over what you're doing, but you have a huge barrier. You've literally got a wall between the two creative sides of the whole process. And something I've found is that the production and performance meld into each other. It's kind of the same thing for me, and we were always wanting to experiment and try different sounds, and it just seems natural for us to be in the room with all of the gear. This desk is it's an old thing called a Flickinger, and it's this guy Daniel Flickinger made them in the late 60s through to the early 70s. I don't think there's any other ones in the UK. He only made a few of them in the States, and he made them for people like Sly Stone and Ike Turner. Funkadelic had one. There's a friend of ours called Bill Skibby who has a studio in Benton Harbor on Lake Michigan. And he's got Sly Stone's old desk, and then we went and did a bit of recording, and it's great, and it's got a good vibe about it, and you know he's got his own quirky ways of doing things, Bill. And he called me one time and said, "Hey Alex, there's a Flickinger going for, like, it's really, really cheap. It's not working, but you should really get it. It would be dead exciting. You could take over to Glasgow." So I went, "Yeah, okay, why not?" And it had been sitting in a warehouse in Chicago for 30 years, something like that. This fella, Phil Taylor, he spent 2 years fixing it up and bringing it together and making it work. And it's great. It looks, to me, it's got a vibe of its era. I think it was built in the same year that 2001: A Space Odyssey was made, and it's got a similar sort of look and feel about it. There's a kind of an optimistic futurism about it. That's the way I like to see it. There's a certain vocabulary that a certain type of journalist uses all the time. I'm just trying to imagine how they might chat somebody up in a club for certain bits of the song, like.
It's quite ambiguous as well. I mean, like, you know, you can imagine any like sleazy guy kind of, or not sleazy guy using those lines. Maybe it's a good tactic.
Yeah. Where did you get your name from?
Yeah. So, where did you get your name from? What's your favourite colour?
I got a question for you, another question for you. How do you feel the pressure? Why you wearing what you wearing? Where will your life be gone in 5 minutes time? Still laugh like that stupid, you know that you love to. Whoa, look out, you're what she came for. You're what she came for. No question, no doubt. Whoa, look out, you're what she came for.
And this bit here, it's like it's like you've fallen through the floor and you've landed in the cellar, and there's now like if you imagine that you've completely changed environment again, and you're surrounded by, and the band are 15 times the size, and full on rock and roll. This is the bit of the song when John Dent, who mastered the record, got a message back from saying that he really liked this bit at the end of the song, and he had to he had to recalibrate the lathe for cutting the acetate, and he said he hadn't had to do that since he mastered Ace of Spades by Motorhead, which is interesting.
Telephone. Get me on the phone. That'll be the phone. Sometimes the phone rings. Hello, Franz Ferdinand. Bob speaking. What's your favourite colour? Okay, I'll come and let you in. Bye.
Was there keys in the door? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It was a party.
People know that you're in here, or is it?
I think so. I think they do. I don't really know, to be honest. No, I'm alright. I'm off the booze. Do you think people know we're in here?
I'm on the booze. People know we're in here.
I think people who work here do, but I mean...
No, I don't think anybody particularly cares.
No.
No, that's what I've put around here anyway. When there wasn't this on the windows, you could hear like for miles. So and people definitely knew then. It was like it was wee Ned's like banging on the windows and stuff. But and the police stopped us one night, didn't they?
Yeah, they're very nice though.
Mm.
Other thing.
And they came in and they went, oh, you can't make that sort of noise at this time. And then Alex came around the corner and they went, oh, sorry.
I want the phone to ring again now.
Sometimes the sound of 1,000 whispering words can confuse, but when you're sleeping, they shift and slide together, bring meaning to the canyon's cry, and I will keep on dreaming. I live to dream again. I live to dream again. I live to dream again. I live to dream again.
We did a lot of vocals on the big stage in the big hall, because especially at night it's an amazing atmosphere. We just turned off all the lights, and he'd sing on this stage, and you could imagine the audience there, you know, all the ghosts kicking around listening to you.
Don't be afraid if you're descending, sweetest despair without a handrail to guide you. Sometimes the sound of 1,000 whispering words of hope will reassure, show me the future. We'll see us join together, with the ocean split or the mountainside, and I will keep on dreaming. I live to dream again. I live to dream again. I live to dream again. Don't be afraid if you're descending, the sweetest despair without...
It was written acoustically, and then we just lost the chords again, didn't we? That was and just played it on.
It's true, isn't it? 'Cause
single note instruments kind of thing.
Because sometimes like it sounds a bit too trad and obvious. Maybe if you just keep it on the acoustic guitar, and like the song always had a really beautiful melody, and to just stick a strummed acoustic guitar behind it, I don't know, you could do have a lot more fun than that. Yeah. And I guess we kind of swapped instruments a little bit for this one as well. Like Paul's playing a bit of organ, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm playing bells with screwdrivers.
Oh yeah, that as well.
And
Yeah.
And the preset beats you would get on an organ as well.
Sometimes the sound of 1,000 whispers are where you live a little fear, but feel the future. Well, I feel us dream together. I feel no fear, I feel no fire.
that we didn't go to a normal recording studio, and we didn't make a mellow out, and we did everything that we weren't supposed to do because we're a bunch of contrary fuckers.
It is odd to listen to your record because I'm probably not going to listen to it again in the future. This might be the last time I ever listen to it from start to finish. Because once it's done, it's done. You know, you spend all these... I mean, literally, this has been like a year and a half of my life making this, and you end up with this tap on the guitar. That's it, over. But you don't listen to your own music, you know. That's it. It's there. It's for other people now. So this is the original version of Catherine Kiss Me, the way things actually were. Catherine, kiss me, slippy little lips will split me where your eye won't hit me. Yes, I love you, I mean I'd love to get to know you. Sometimes I say the stupid things. Sometimes I say the stupid things that I think. Sometimes I think the stupidest things. Do you ever wonder how the girl feels? Catherine, kiss me. Flick your cigarette, then kiss me. Flick your eyes at mine so briefly. Yes, your leather jacket lies in sticky pools of cider blackberry. You glance a ricochet from every alpha male behind me. Eyes like marbles on a washing machine. Do you ever wonder how the boy feels? Catherine, kiss me in the alleyway by Jakey's, jacking in the sodium light. Yes, I love you, I mean I need to love. And though your opened eyes stare poured upon the overflowing pipes above me tonight, I don't mind, because I never wonder how the girl feels.